Support WrestleTalk.
Was that the best pay-per-view / premium live event of the whole year? I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Lugo in DAD. Welcome to the biggest party of the summer, Summerfest Slam review on the WrestleTalk Podcast channel. Please do give us a subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you're watching on demand. Press the thumbs up button and get in your thoughts to the show by going to WrestleTalk.com/support or read out every single one of them. Over $5 US. None of your Canadian stuff. I know it's the Commonwealth Games right now, but I've got no time for it.
And all the Australian dollars as well. I want.
Ugh!
No, don't want them. US only. Thank you very much.
We'll read them out before the end of the show. Right.
Do you want some immediate reactions to the title?
Yes. Because I'm sure people are on board with this because it's so positive and it's WWE.
No. Strong, but not the best. No. Yes. Yeah, it was all right. Best pay of the year. No. Yes.
Okay. So somebody said yes.
What? Two people said yes. Everyone else has said no.
Okay. Look. Let a man be happy for once.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Do you know what's remarkable about this is that, so when Sullivan and I did our live reactions to this show, we were like, I think that had an incredible opening, and I think it had a really awesome spot, like one of the all-time great spots in a main event. Overall, I didn't think the main event was actually that good, but that one spot was like one of the most incredible things I've ever seen on a wrestling show. And I think the rest of the pay-per-view is broadly forgettable. And may as well have not been there.
What, are you saying you've already forgotten about Bobby Lashley defeating Austin Theory?
But the reaction to our live chat was like, guys, you're missing out. This is one of the best shows I've ever seen. Like 10 out of 10, 13 out of 10, show of the year. All the reactions that we're seeing on Twitter after the show was like, this is the greatest pay-per-view WWE have ever done. And like this, that, and the other. And it's only since now that people are like, we've done videos where we're like, it's a great pay-per-view, that all these people are coming out of the world being like, whoa. I think you're overreacting a little bit much here.
Look, it is a big statement to make, especially in a year that's had,
Forbidden Door,
WrestleMania,
Revolution,
Royal Rumble, one of the best Royal... Wait, was that this year that was bad?
No, these year's Royal Rumbles were both
terrible.
okay.
What's really interesting for me is because, we're learning a lot of the time as much as you are all hearing our views. And we try and be self-reflective and figure out, hey, why do we think these things? And of course, last year, AEW could do no wrong for me.
What, the summer of AEW with Punk, Danielson, and Cole.
People were brought in, and I was so excited because they built a lot of sort of goodwill within me. And I'm like, I can't wait to see what you do with these new things because you've had such an excellent track record so far. That sort of feeling has waned, and now I feel like whenever new people get introduced, I'm a bit like, it'll be sort of forgotten about again and not really followed up on for a while.
Hello, Athena.
With WWE, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, with WWE right now, and it really is just this week, that they have a rare thing where the slate, in my head at least, and I think it is sort of common out there, has been wiped clean. So there's this idea that we're dead to dream again, that we can hope that when things happen, they will be followed up on. Because, to be honest, if I watch this exact same show and it took place 2 weeks ago, I would be probably more like you, where I'm like, that was fun. Io Shirai's here. Dakota Kai's back. I can't wait to see nothing happen with them. Oh, yeah, the Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns thing. I'm sure we'll see that never again. And I'll be like kind of down on it because I know that I'm just going to get more of the same that I have done for decades. But right now, I just feel so much hope that everything that happened on this show, I had the enjoyment of experiencing it, but then almost double the amount of excitement because I am really hopeful for what comes next.
I think that's the really exciting thing about WWE at the moment. Like, I did the Raw review, and the Raw review, that Raw episode, the first one with Triple H in charge, was such an okay episode of Raw. But because it was the first one that Triple H watched, people have been like, was it this? Was it this? Was it this? And I think people are going in with so much more optimism that shows now do feel better than what they would have been if we'd have known that Vince McMahon was still in charge. Like, it would be amazing if it came out that Vince is still actually the head of creative and this Triple H thing is just like a public reason. It's clearly not, but it'd be hilarious if it was.
What a play by bringing back Dakota Kai. Threw us all off the Vince McMahon scent.
But I think that segment there, which we'll get to when we get to it, is the most Triple H thing on this show. Everything else felt like a Vince McMahon product. Aside from, I say, the commentary. Everything else felt like a Vince McMahon show, but that one segment felt such like a Triple H stamp of, here is what I'm going to do. And for me, that one segment overshadows everything else that's on the show, because that segment there is like, that's the thing to focus on. Like, that's the optimism. That's of the, this is where things are going to change. And that change here will then bleed into all of this other stuff. So yeah, Theory Bobby Lashley was a nothing match. Usos Street Profits, a nothing match. The celebrity matches, nothing matches that ultimately mean nothing. But it's fine, because this segment here has got so much good out of it. There's like, the rest of the show, in a few years' time, they'll all be like that segment. And that, I think, is the most exciting thing about WWE right now, is that it's a new day. Yes, it is. And that, I think this is a lot, not a lot, but some of this show really is pointing us into that direction of, here is what you're going to see all the time in a few years.
Well, should we talk about the main event first? Well, because one of the strengths of this show, I think, is how it was bookended by the most amazing things. You had the Becky Lynch Bianca match and all the ensuing angles that happened afterwards, and the main event was Brock versus Roman. Now, I was actually looking forward to this, despite we've seen it before. I was, as soon as they said Last Man Standing, I thought, that's going to be a really fun match. And I wasn't a fan of their WrestleMania match.
Nope.
I thought it ended like so anticlimactically. So I'm glad they went out there and did this, because this had sort of Batman No Man's Land. There's been an earthquake in WWE, and now it's just absolute dystopia chaos everywhere. Yes, I'm reading it at the moment. And now they've just got to fight for supremacy.
Yeah. It was a match that I honestly... I think I'm in the minority on this one, going by the comments that I've seen and everything, people saying that it's their favourite of the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns matches. I thought for the most part it's every Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match we've seen, just with a couple of table bumps. But what I was about to get to, outside of the tractor spot, what were the big moments of this match?
Look. You don't need any other moments.
But
are you really saying that? Outside of that time where they lifted up the ring with the tractor?
But this is what I said in my immediate reactions video that I posted. It was like, it doesn't matter that the rest of the match was just every Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match, because it had that one spot. And that one spot elevates it. But like for me, I look at it as a whole piece, being like, the match wasn't very good, but that one spot is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And both of those statements can be true.
I know what you mean, but usually when you look at any series of matches, they do copy and paste large chunks of the formula and just tweak about 20% of it as the new bits.
But the formula's just throw some suplexes to an F5 and a spear.
Oh yeah, but now there's a tractor. and I know it wasn't all tractor, but the tractor was always there next to the ring, and it was set up very clearly at the start of the match.
What an entrance.
It was Chekhov's tractor. You cannot tell me in any other Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match you're experiencing the narrative of what they're doing, but then you're also always thinking, but what's that tractor gonna do?
Honestly, during the live reactions, it wasn't until Brock got into it, because we all thought it was just going to be a, he'll put him into the digger bit and then he'll dump him out. Like, that'll be the big spot that they do.
I thought he was going to hit one of those lame standing F5s.
Yeah. Or I said they'll do the finish to halftime heat with Rock and Mankind, where like one of them gets trapped underneath the digger thing, and that's how the last man standing match will end.
Yeah.
And then I said to Sullivan, "Gotta be mad if he tipped the ring, though, wouldn't it?" And then he started to do it, and he shunted the ring forward, and that was when everyone lost their minds, being like, "Oh, I think they are going to tip the ring." Spot of the year. That is the most incredible spot I've ever seen in a wrestling match. I will probably ever see in a wrestling match. And it's the beauty of WWE. No other wrestling company on this planet can do that spot.
And that is that's the other part of why I love this show so much. And I've sort of brought it up a few times recently, and that is I love sports entertainment. I see it very different to what AEW do as professional wrestling. I was brought up on sports entertainment. I was a WWF kid. So when we think of sports entertainment now, though, we think of, it's rubbish, because it has become rubbish. But actually,
DQs.
It's a pure idea there. And this is the sort of pinnacle of a sports entertainment visual.
So, and this is why I was like really into it, because once that got me massively into the match. That one spot, Roman doing his big tumble out the ring, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I absolutely loved it. Then Theory ran down for the cash in, and there was all this excitement. And the problem is that the match just kept going after that, and that's where I lost interest in the match, because they had the high point, but then didn't end the match with the high point. They kept going for like another 7-10 minutes, just doing hit him with a thing. 1, 2, back up at 9, hit him with a thing. 1, 2, back up at 9, hit him with a thing. And that's why I was like, lads, let's call it a day. Like, Roman's won the match. Like, we don't need to protect Brock anymore here. Let's just call this a day.
There was a part of me also that was like, I kind of wanted this to just be between Roman and Brock. Sure, Theory can get involved, but the Usos' interference, Paul Heyman's spots, I was a bit sort of like, that was repetitive.
It's every Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match you've ever seen.
Although Paul did take a very, very rare bump, being F5'd through the announcer's desk.
It was pretty rad.
So the way Roman beat Brock was that they eventually covered him in all the debris from the surrounding ring area. And, that was too much, too heavy for Brock.
That's because Roman stood on it as well, which I think is technically interfering with the count.
I was just screaming for them to put Paul on it. Just like drag his body over, lump it there.
Yeah.
I mean, what would have been more poetic, actually, is probably if he laid the WWE Championship on top and, I can't.
Yeah.
I am underneath you. But yes, this was an extraordinary match. But deservedly so, entirely because of the tractor.
Yeah,
I don't think you want to have a really different style of Roman Reigns Brock match and then also have the tractor.
No, but that was always going to be the problem with a Brock Roman match, is that, and I also want to say as well, this is not Brock and Roman's fault. This is, I think, a Vince McMahon issue, that he's given us that match 15 times in the last year. That we're all just sort of like watered down on it. If they'd have done this match at Crown Jewel and then here, I think it would have been a different story. But also, like, all of the start of this year has just been built around Brock and Roman.
Yeah.
That when they just announced it again, it was like, oh God, again? Like, we're going to this well again. And the build for this match has been non-existent. They've had one segment together, and it was the segment where they announced the match was happening. The pair of them have not been on the same show since. So, like, I think the build has been lackluster, and so when it got into the match, I'm like, I just want this to be done with. So I think it is an extraordinary spot in an otherwise okay match.
One thing people aren't talking about enough is Brock Lesnar drove the tractor down the very long aisle, and so that quite a narrow aisle for the width of the tractor, the girth.
Yeah, we were worried.
Like poor Colt. That Drew got everyone chanting for. He could have easily been taken out by this tractor. So Brock stands on the digger arm to announce himself. He snatches the ring at Mike. Is it Mike Rowe?
Yeah, he already had a microphone in the thing.
Oh, okay.
He just picked up his microphone and told Mike to shut up.
And he did his ring introduction, and then he tosses the mic. Have you seen Roman Reigns catch it?
I've not. Well, I saw someone mention it already, but I haven't actually seen the clip.
Oh my God. So Roman doesn't do that and catch it. He catches it by his waist. It comes down and he just like that. No effort. It's one of the coolest. Do you remember when we saw, was it Jordan Devlin flipped a water bottle and it landed on its top?
Yeah.
It was that.
He's a cool guy. He's effortlessly cool, is Roman Reigns.
One more year, I say.
Well, I mean, okay, so very quickly, because we need to get into the Ultrachats, do you think he loses at Clash at the Castle?
If I was booking WWE, I would say yes. I think that would be the right move.
Put the belt on Drew now.
Yeah. Well, in Wales as well, his home country.
Well, of Britain.
Yes, yeah.
That's what we do when we don't have just one of our own. We just co-opt someone else's.
Yeah. I mean, they're ours.
They're ours? They're British.
Yeah.
But you can't have Davey Boy Smith. No, he is an Englishman.
I'm just seeing if I missed anything else. Oh yeah, Theory did not properly cash in the briefcase, which meant he's still live.
Yeah, I don't know what his theory was. His theory was, because I mean, people have been talking about this in the lead up to it. It's like, how do you cash in on a last man standing match to make it a triple threat? How do you do a triple threat last man standing match?
Yeah. Well, I guess he would have just. Sorry, someone has posted the clip. Sorry, everybody. You're just going to have to watch Luke watch this microphone catch.
Oh, mate. Hello. Oh. It's like you passed it to him.
Jesus.
That is
incredible. So maybe Roman should retain against Drew.
I want him to hold the belt forever now.
Yeah. Oh God, how do I get to the chats? Now I click that.
Oh, well, I'll kick things off here. Sean Carter, this is from last night's stream that was left over. Thank you for the fun evening, Luke and Sullivan. I won't be able to make it to the UK for your party, but I am planning a trip to London within the next year. I'd love to buy you all a drink, play a board game or two with some of the WrestleTalk and NRB crew if possible.
Yes, please.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. The Patrical says, I liked you better when you weren't allowed to have an opinion line from Corey Graves to Michael Cole sums it all up. Who thought Michael Cole was going to be the guy that benefited the most from Vince's departure? Me. Because I was the guy that's been championing Michael Cole. I've been like, he's just... Because he was producing all the NXT commentary. I remember, like, back in the day, it was like, when everyone found out, it was like, he's a really good commentator. Did you see the NXT UK tournament when it was just him and Nigel McGuinness? Guys, like, he's freaking great if he's not under the Vince McMahon shackles of repeat after me.
I agreed with you, but I could not ever emotionally acknowledge it because I hated Cole so much in 2010.
Heel Michael Cole was the worst. Kevin said, I'm sure WWE renamed Io Shirai Io with a Y in the middle so that people will stop calling her Io Shirai. Cough, Adam, cough.
Yeah. Plus, I like how they put it all in capitals.
Yeah, I like that it's all in caps. Yeah. Charles Berg. So we couldn't really hear the commentary, so we were just like freaking out over Io Shirai. Everyone saw like 3 matches later, they said, "Is they calling her Io Sky?"
Io Sky.
And then went, oh, and I really did have like a balloon that just went, had some air let out. I was like, oh, they changed their name. Yeah. Oh, I really thought that was going to end with this. Charles Berg, Brock has collapsed a ring and now he's lifted one. Amazing. He's something else. That's amazing. 9 women on yesterday's card. 8 looked badass and one of them was Maurice. If I was AEW, I'd be worried because Triple H knows how to make a women's division matter. Jam, that's jam.
You don't discount all the work WWE has done for their women's division because Becky Lynch is a star. Bianca Belair is a star. Bayley's a star. Ronda Rousey's a star. They've made Liv Morgan a star. This is pre-Triple H stuff.
Kian says, hi lads, I loved Becky's heel run, to be honest. Brilliant on the mic as ever and a career best year in ring. Can't wait for the EO match. Love you loads. Charles again say, I'd like to mention I was correct about Michael Cole being very good at his job. I made that statement about a year ago and I was scoffed at. Said it yesterday, but I'll say it again. People didn't like Michael Cole because he just did what his boss wanted. Mayor of Painesville Dan, last night we all witnessed the greatest thing in WWE history. So, I don't know if you know that this is Dan's new thing.
What, he loves maximum male models?
Yeah, this is his new Goldust.
Great.
We all witnessed the greatest thing in WWE history. The sole reason Ollie gave this show 95%, the maximum male model water presentation. It was so fantastic. I keep going back to it. Triple H has saved WWE and titillated my guilty pleasures.
I mean, at least it wasn't a 15-minute Xavier Woods water fight in the ring.
It was I think Triple H got the foresight not to do it in front of the crowd that can boo it.
Yeah.
Just do it as a backstage thing.
The only way this would have been better if it was Alexa Bliss and Lily.
That's what I was after. Gabriel Reyes. Show was fun. The first match and returns had me pumped. Brock versus Roman 222 had me sports entertained. Only critique I'd have is I'd like to see the Bloodline start to lose belts soon. I think their big matches don't excite me because they always win.
Yeah, I think that's a fair criticism. Superman syndrome.
Joshua Larkin has been in Memberg for 12 months in a row. Marked improvement over recent WWE shows and a great sign for the future. Still not a mark of Revolution 2022 or Forbidden Door, but it was good stuff. Radia, hey yo. My thoughts during the main event. Brock's on a tractor. Interesting, I guess. All right, match is going the way I thought it would do. Okay, dropped him safely with the tractor. That's cool. Okay, well, that's a new one. 4 out of 10. Chris.
That was a Bret Hart 4 out of 10 wink.
Chris here says, great show, but I'm still worried about these returns. It leaves Alexa. I hope the Triple H doesn't treat her like she was in NXT. I don't think he will, but what she said on Monday was given hope that she might go after the belts. Let's not look away from her. Like we said this to you yesterday, Chris, but the whole brilliance of this is that it's revitalized the entire division, not just one person.
I think we're going to see a draft. Sharpish.
You reckon?
Well, so we'll get onto it in the women's match, but my God, it's so loaded on Raw now.
But SmackDown's got loads of women's talent. They just don't they haven't done anything with them. All they need to do is just have a complete refresh of the talent, not like a refresh of the talent pool, but just reevaluate what you've got and just start to build some people up. And then you've got an actually perfect balance there.
I think you need to move some people around to enable that refresh.
I don't know if you do. I really don't think you do. I think SmackDown's actually got more than enough talent that they could do something great with it. They're chosen not to. Bacon Rasher, hey lads, I didn't watch the show, but thanks for letting me know. It was decent. I thought Theory would have cashed in, but then on Raw, Roman says you can only challenge for one title, give me the blue one back. Then we have a title on Raw again. That would have been awful. Riot DR. So Io Shirai is now Io Sky, so I'm assuming she's no longer the genius of the sky, Io Sky. Perhaps genius of the air, prodigy of flight, Ariel Einstein. Aside from that, I'm all for this group. Maybe the women's belts aren't dead.
The genius of the Io Sky. Well, that leads us very well onto our first match of the pay-per-view, the opener, which was Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. Of course, keep on sending in your Ultrachats.
You got it.
WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read the rest of them out at the end of the show. But yeah, Lynch versus Belair, it started with. And I thought I didn't expect this to resonate with me the way it did. As soon as they got in the ring, with the video package, of course, I was suddenly hit by, oh my God, Becky returned last year and squashed Belair. And this is kind of the year culmination of this storyline.
I said in the predictions video it's going to go one of two ways. Either they have a WrestleMania rematch and have the best match on the night, or Bianca Belair beats her in 26 seconds. And I'm glad they went with the other one. Because basically my argument was, that's a really good way to kind of mirror how this feud started last year. But actually, I think they had the foresight to do a much better ending to this and an actually much better punctuation. And I'm so glad they just went with doing the match because they had a banging match with my favorite KOD I've ever seen. Bianca Belair proper threw herself into that KOD, like with the sit down. It looked awesome. But it was like the post-match, not the returns and stuff. The post-match between Becky and Belair was my favorite thing on this show.
Yeah, but like, Belair's already gone over Lynch. Like, we've seen that happen. So it happens again at the end of this match, spoiler. And that was enough, I thought. I was like, wow, yes, that really cements Belair at the top. Can't wait for Becky to get even more psychotic in this decline that she's going through. But then when Becky shook the hand, didn't turn on her again, and hugged her in quite a genuine way, I wasn't prepared for that happening.
Yeah, it really hit me in a way I wasn't expecting. Because that's the bit I loved the most about this. This is a feud that started with a handshake pulled into a manhandle slam and a heel turn. And it ended with a handshake pulled into an embrace and a babyface turn. That is poetically beautiful.
I don't think they ever had that planned.
I mean, likely, yes. I don't think that was ever the intent. But like, that's the
well done.
Well done for putting that together. Because I thought it was just such a beautiful thing. And like me and Sullivan, it was so funny, like, you know, in hindsight. We were watching this match, loving it because it's such a great match. But we are there being like, well, I mean, Bianca's got Alexa to go to after this, but I don't know where you go with Becky after this because this Raw women's division is floundering and it really needs an injection in the arm. And then out comes Bayley. And we were like, well, there's an injection. That's really nice. And then out comes Dakota Kai, and we're freaking out, being like, "Oh my god!" And then out comes Io Shirai, and I was like, "All of a sudden, this is the best women's division in WWE." And I now cannot wait to watch Raw to see what the next chapter of this is.
So when they came out one by one afterwards, were you like, "Oh, it's just like the next challengers"?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I didn't buy them as a faction.
It wasn't until they were standing next to each other because I was like, "Are they a group? Like, are they now together?" Because like Bayley didn't seem surprised that Dakota Kai came out, and I was like, "This is so weird." And then just I was like, "They're a tag team." Bizarre, but I'm going with it. Then Io Shirai came out and did the same thing. And I was like, "They're a trio." so weird, but I'm so on board for it.
They do seem like not very well matched.
They had no matching gear.
Yeah,
they should have all had massive pockets.
Bailey had so many pockets on. Maybe there's more released NXT stars in her pockets, ready to jump out in the match.
Tegan Knox is in one of them.
But yeah, it did give me some sort of. If this was another time, I would see this and go, "Oh, great, okay. So there's two people for Bianca to beat a lot to then get to Bailey. This is just—it's team bad. It's." Although, when everyone came up in teams of 3.
The submission sororities, or whatever they were called.
And none of them were good. So here... But I'm more excited for it purely because it's
Triple H.
A new dawn.
Like, this is a Triple H run thing, and it gives me so much... So the Fightful had their report out last week after Triple H was named head of creative, and there were a lot of talent that had left WWE or let their contracts expire that told Sean, if I knew I was going up to the main roster with Triple H in charge, I would have re-signed. Like an AEW star said that. I was like, I wouldn't have gone to AEW. I'm very happy in AEW, but I wouldn't have gone to AEW. I would have stayed in WWE.
Adam Cole.
Well, Sean has said it's not, but Sean has said it's not in Bucky O'Hara's. It's either him or Adam. It's either him or Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah.
But either way, like, I think Dakota Kai is like, she's the example of this. Of a released talent that had options to go elsewhere. She had options from AEW. Impact were interested in her because Jordan Grace wanted to bring her in. According to Sean, AEW were having like early conversations with her. And there were stars on the AEW roster that were pushing or pitching to Dakota to come and join them. And she has chosen to re-sign with WWE. That, I think, says so much about the change of a landscape that we have got ahead of us.
I also, though... Where am I gonna? I don't know.
Io Shirai's another one. She was gone.
Yeah, even before. No, I'm not going to say even before Triple H, but certainly now. Like, do I want to be a women's wrestler in AEW or a women's wrestler in WWE? I don't think it's a no-brainer.
No-brainer, because like AEW is a floundering place to go if you've gone the women's roster.
So this is really exciting.
Loved it.
I personally think we'll have a shake-up soon. Maybe it will be in September. Just to balance out a bit of the talent. But yeah, it certainly seems that we've got because Becky then stood and backed up Bianca Belair.
What an awesome visual that was after just going to war with each other, standing side by side. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. And the look that they gave each other, just like, yeah, we're doing this now. I thought it was so cool. Although, hey, WWE always just relying on returns to get the pops. Like, do something creative for a change.
Long-term build for Survivor Series? Maybe there's no brand supremacy this year.
It's a Triple H world. What does Survivor Series look like in
War games?
All of a sudden, I'm now excited for what Survivor Series actually is going to be. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. But it might not be pointless brand supremacy and red and blue T-shirts.
Of all the creative decisions on this show, this is 100% Triple H.
Yep.
So you'd think it's got some long-term plans.
It has to be. So yeah, that was the other thing that Sean was saying, that what things can we expect to change? And Meltzer read about this in The Observer as well. Long-term storytelling is a thing that's going to change because A, Triple H is a fan of it. B, it's easy to do without Vince McMahon because Vince McMahon couldn't do long-term storytelling because he either got bored of doing long-term stories or he'd forgot he'd started them and just stopped doing it. Or forgot that he had done a match 3 times already and would just do it for a 4th.
Sully is coming, It's tough. After that, we got The Miz versus Logan Paul. This didn't start off with much heat because, it's essentially 2 heels. Really tough dynamic to make work. But Logan Paul was incredible. Of course, he had a tag team match at WrestleMania. A lot of his potential and experience was hidden. This is a singles match against The Miz, who is a fine, soft-style WWE-style worker, but not really the guy that can make someone else who's not good look good. So I thought this was very, very impressive, and Logan Paul got the win when Tommaso Ciampa was sort of chased off by AJ Styles, and there was a accident with Maurice. Logan Paul won.
Yeah, it was okay. It's fun. So the thing with Bianca, Becky, and Bailey and all that made me excited to watch Raw. And the things I enjoyed the most on the show are the things that have made me to look forward to what's coming next. this didn't do this for me because Logan Paul's probably not going to be on Raw until we have the next Saudi show. So, The Miz losing does nothing for The Miz, does nothing for Logan Paul either. So it's a filler thing on a card. Impressive, don't get me wrong. He did his frog splash from the top rope to the announcer table was insanely great, picture perfect. But ultimately, it means nothing. It's a value meal at McDonald's.
Usually
delicious, but it does not fill you up.
Usually I'd agree with you, but I actually think it's a Happy Meal because there is a treat inside of here. AJ Styles chasing off Tommaso Ciampa. It's an AJ Ciampa feud.
With Triple H at the help, because I would have been. Well, here's the thing: they've already done that match on Raw, and it sort of was it ended in 1.5 minutes. So I was like, great. But then I was like, no. But now with Triple H here, I just want Ciampa away from Miz basically because I think he is much. He's being brought down by being associated with The Miz.
I'm so excited for Monday's Raw. Of course, me and Luke are reviewing it now. We've been bumped off AEW for a month because we lost a round in Quizzlemania. Go over to partsFUNknown to check that out. Tempest and Pete will be reviewing AEW until All Out.
Yes.
But I don't mind that. I can still watch AEW.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I was like, I'm actually on annual leave, so I'm going to miss this week's Raw. And I'm actually gutted that I'm missing this week's Raw because I kind of want to see what the fallout for SummerSlam is. This match was brilliantly carried by The Miz. The Miz is perfect at this role. This is where The Miz excels in doing celebrity-based matches. Bad Bunny's a great example.
Yeah, but
he's and Logan Paul is no Bad Bunny.
There were loads more people in those matches. That was a tag match.
Yeah.
I honestly,
did you see Bad Bunny in the Royal Rumble? He was great.
I think Logan Paul. We know he's very athletic. He can do backflips, the frog splash. He laid in the strikes.
He was kicking the cack out of him.
Yeah, there was one clothesline on The Miz. I thought, God, I bet even Daniel Bryan didn't hit him that hard. So yeah, I was a big fan of this. I just wish Logan Paul was a heel because then this would be amazing.
Yeah.
Maximum Male Models did their water bottle promotion thing. I guess if you're going to promote water, summer is a good time.
95% sugar.
Summer is a good time to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's when people are thirstiest.
I guess so.
Theory then took on Bobby Lashley. This was a bizarre one. It was only 5 minutes long. Theory attacked Lashley before the bell with the briefcase, but it was mostly just Lashley dominating. And it ended when Theory did his sort of forward roll through the ropes. Lashley hoists him up in the air. Very incredible overhead press. Drops him down into a hurt lock and wins.
Austin, I said this in the Raw review last week. Austin Theory needs all the help he can get because no one buys him as a top guy. This did nothing to help people buy him as a top guy.
Do you think Triple H sees anything in him?
It was a Vince McMahon project.
But before then,
he was
in the way and
NXT
stuff.
Part of the way. So I think Triple H probably does him. I don't think he may see him the same way that Vince saw him. Like maybe Triple H doesn't look at him as the next John Cena. But I think Triple H sees him as a potential upper mid card guy in the company.
Yeah.
I just wish they'd stop beating people who've got the briefcase. It's like, well, they've got the briefcase, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's kind of a booking decision I would have hoped that was an old school thing, but maybe Triple H believes that too.
Yeah.
Judgment Day versus the Mysterios. This was a decent match. Well worked. I really like Balor and Mysterio's interactions. It was an ODQ, so it was weird that people were tagging in and out.
I actually forgot it was an ODQ until Ray brought a chair in with 5 minutes before the match ended.
He did a penguin slide on that chair onto Finn Balor outside the ring. Amazing.
The match was exactly the same match they had on Raw just 5 days earlier. So it was I'd feel like I was watching a repeat of something. But again, much like the truck, the tractor in the main event, the match itself wasn't there to be a match. It was just there to be a stage for Edge to make a return.
Because it was a surprise return, which had an elaborate, presumably long time to construct set, a big staircase and pulsating flames, and then Edge appeared. I'm wearing a red jacket. I'm a creepy vampire man.
I'm a vampire. And that Nick Cage movie where he's running down the street going, I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! That's what Edge did here.
And then, rather than turn into a bat and get there really quickly in the ring, as we mentioned before, the SummerSlam entranceway was incredibly long. So I'm pretty sure Judgment Day could have won.
Oh yeah, they just stopped and be like, "Oi, who's that over there? Oh, it's Edge."
Really far over
That's
there.
the wall, brother.
So yeah, they ran and fought with Edge, even though really they should have just won the match.
But you know what? It's sports entertainment.
It's fine.
And I was sports entertained by the Edge return.
Yeah. Mysterios won. Edge stood with Rey and Dominic. No Dominic heel turn yet again.
No, Judgment Day can't buy a win. So still made a great decision kicking Edge out of the group.
Probably going to go into Edge versus Balor, I presume, seeing that he kicked him out.
Yeah, I think they'll do Edge and Rey versus Judgment Day, or maybe they'll introduce a new male member to it so they can do a trios match.
Think Edge is going to be supernatural?
I don't think so. No. I think he's just
intimidation fangs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he'll just do his Brood stuff.
Baron Corbin took on Pat McAfee. I love this. I love Pat McAfee wrestling. He might be my favorite. He's the best thing since 2001 Shane McMahon for me.
Yeah, I think that's a
in
fair
that role.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison actually. I don't mind that as a comparison. Like I said this in the live reactions yesterday. I'm not a fan of Pat McAfee's commentary. I've never listened to his podcast, so I don't know anything about that side of things.
It's the same.
So I'm not a fan of his commentary style. And it's a match that again ultimately means nothing because on SmackDown he'll just go and sit at the commentary desk, and Baron Corbin will go into his next mid-card heel feud.
Oh.
So nothing changes, but much like the love triangle between Bobby Lashley and Lana and Rusev back in the day,
Great.
The crowd love it. So while I'm sat there being like, I actually think this is pretty rubbish, the crowd are so into it. And the crowd are so into Pat McAfee that I can't sit here and be like, he's terrible and I don't like this. Because like, oh yeah, it's not for me, but it totally works. So it's a huge thumbs up.
I think Logan Paul is the better wrestler. I was really impressed with him. But Pat McAfee is by far the better entertainer and performer. Like he has more charisma than a lot of the roster.
Yep.
And
he's also got an incredible ability to recover from botches.
Oh my God, yes!
Every single high spot he tried, he bollocksed and then recovered from it in the most spectacular of ways.
There's a point where he's standing on the top rope. Baron Corbin's outside. He's going to just do a sort of rolling senton onto him. And he legit loses his balance. He does a bigger sell than Roman Reigns being tipped up by a digger on the top rope, like waving arms. I thought he's gone for.
Yeah.
And then he just somehow just like sheer force of will flips himself forward and hits the move. That's anti-gravity.
He's got an incredible ability to recover from mistakes that he makes. And he makes mistakes with every move that he tries.
But everybody did on this show. I think when there's momentum and there's something in the air, which is I think is a tangible thing that's not unscientific, stuff just goes right. And there were so many points on this show. Roman catching that microphone, Brock Lesnar trying to do a springboard clothesline off the barricade, slipping and then just being like, all right. And it was fine. This moment here, just everything went right. It's nice when things just work.
Good, yeah. And again, the crowd were massively into this. He had a choir doing his bum-ass Corbin thing.
Triple H definitely was involved in that. Oh, entrances. That's 60% of wrestling.
But also, it's 90% of Pat McAfee's character is a big entrance.
Yeah.
So I mean, the crowd lapped it up. So it's a huge thumbs up segment.
See, what I like the most out of this, I know you said you didn't get anything from it, but the crowd were enjoying it. What I liked the most was something the crowd weren't actually privy to, and that is Michael Cole doing the best work of this show, which is also the best work he's done in probably a decade, main roster-wise, because he has a genuine relationship with McAfee, and he's just like shouting at Baron Corbin. And really, it really reminded me of how JR would react when Taz was feuding with Lawler.
Yeah. I'm blind, JR. I'm blind. I've gone back and rewatched it because we can't have the commentary up too much when we do the live reactions, because if the microphones pick up the TV and WWE will flag us for content and they'll have the video taken down. So we have to have things on pretty low. So we can really hear the commentary. So we're having a lot of people feed stuff to us. So like that line of, I liked you better when you didn't have opinions. and a lot's changed around here. So I've gone back and I've rewatched this match just so I could listen to the commentary of it. And again, like, while the match does nothing for me, I thought the commentary was really, really great. I thought Cole had an amazing performance here. Also, because Corey Graves is a friend of Baron Corbin's, so there was a wonderful little juxtaposition there. I thought that was a really, really well put together sports entertainment match.
McAfee won with a botch.
We well thought he was going for a Canadian destroyer.
Yeah.
But instead he did a code red. And I was like, I mean, I don't know if that's what he intended for, but it works. Baron Corbin
Sunset flip, I think.
Baron Corbin did 95% of the move for him, so it doesn't matter.
Everything just worked.
Everything just worked.
Drew McIntyre was out next, sort of stood halfway in the entrance ramp because, timing, gotta go through these. And he said, I think he's moved to Nashville, did he say?
Yeah, I believe he is there. Because I think Sean even said it's weird that him and Sheamus aren't on the card because they both live in Nashville.
But he talked up how he's going to face the winner of the main event at Clash at the Castle. And then he had this really good joke that, for the first time ever match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns in Nashville in a last man standing match. And then he turns to a kid in the front row and just goes, in front of what's your name, kid? And he's like, Colt. Let's chant for Colt.
So good. What an affable... That was the moment where I was like, put the belt on him. Just give him all the belts. He's so
really
great.
Sweet.
He's awesome.
And then he loads of pyro went off with his sword. Wasn't just a really nice, effective, concise promo. Like if this was last year, this would be a 10, 15 minute in-ring bit, overbooked, people interrupting, probably a little 2-minute squash match with, say, a SmackDown name. Yeah, Butch. Butch would have totally got squashed in 2 minutes.
He did on
off the back of
SmackDown
this
2
promo.
weeks ago.
But I thought this was another sign of just a change in priorities for WWE. It was matches, and the sort of promo work was better treated.
Also, now I didn't think under a Vince watch they would have had Drew McIntyre go out and make fun of the main event and how we have seen it time and time again. Because that's what this promo was him being like, man, this is a tired old main event, isn't it? And you are not interested in watching it. So I've got to make fun of it.
Maybe you lean into that as the storyline. Like Drew is here as an agent of change. And Roman is indicative of the old Vince push.
The match that he had with Sheamus on SmackDown was superb. So great. Sheamus there representing the Ivory Coast. Just tremendous stuff. And with Roman now winning here, I'm so massively into the main event of Clash at the Castle. I think it's going to be an awesome match. They've actually done a really good job of keeping the two apart. Only having that 6-man tag at Backlash. But they're on the same brand, but even they have not done the singles match yet. And now we're going to get it. And I really think they've done a great job in protecting both guys and making them feel like legit top dudes to go after the top title. And I think Drew could win.
Street Profits took on the Usos after that with Jeff Jarrett as the special guest referee. This was nowhere near as good as their Money in the Bank match.
Nope.
It was almost half the time as well. It was a really good tag match, but compared to the other one, nowhere near as good. And just the ending was a bit strange. So I'll just go through what happened. Montez Ford hit the frog splash. He bounced off it. He sells his ribs. Takes a little bit too long to make the cover. Whichever Uso it was kicks out. Montez Ford flips out at Jeff Jarrett, the special guest referee. That kind of leads to Angelo Dawkins getting hit by the 1D for the Usos to retain. And then Ford just looked incredibly pissed off.
Yeah, I don't know what the point of this match was.
I think quite clearly a Montez Ford heel turn.
Yeah, which I'm not in. Especially if you're breaking up the Street Profits, pushing Montez Ford as a heel is not the way to be doing this. The guy is just an incredible babyface and charismatic enough to be the lead guy there.
He could be a great heel.
I mean, he may be a great heel, but he's also such a guy. I just don't know.
Sami Zayn's a great babyface.
I don't know why you'd mess with the formula. Also, he has been saying in so many interviews, I don't want to break this tag team up because I really like being in this tag team. Yeah. But WWE are just incessant on breaking this team up. But also, the finish of the last match was the Usos pinned Montez Ford when he had his shoulder up. So how that wasn't factored into the rematch with the special guest referee bogs my mind. What did Jeff Jarrett actually do in this match? Because the spot was that he did the frog splash and then he took too long to get into the pin. And Jimmy or Jay, whichever one it was, kicked out well before the 3. It wasn't even a close near fall. And then Montez Ford is screaming at Jeff Jarrett should have been in the 3, and I'm like, but why? It was nowhere near a near fall.
So I do think this makes sense if Ford turns heel. Ford has been screwed over because of bad officiating decisions over the last couple of months. But this one was his fault.
I'd also say he's only been one match where he's had bad officiating go against him.
But the last big premium live event, that was a bad officiating call. They brought in another referee to hopefully fix that. But this was Ford's fault. And he can't process that, so he assumes it's another bit of bad officiating. And that fuels the heel turn.
I mean, it didn't have to be Jeff Jarrett, but you could have done it with
Oh yeah. No, Jeff Jarrett means nothing in this.
That was more my point. It's like, I don't know what Jeff Jarrett brought to this other than he is from the area.
There's also, the first 2 minutes of this match was Jeff Jarrett hitting people.
Being like, I know the rules, guys.
Whoa. You can't hit him longer than 5 in the corner and he'll shove people around. I'm like, but the point of the story wasn't people getting out of hand or like a lack of physicality from the ref. It was purely bad technical officiating. This makes no sense.
Yeah, at this match, I don't think really accomplished. It wasn't the follow-up that it needed to be after Money in the Bank, and it was not even half as good as the Money in the Bank match was, which I think is a real shame.
Yeah.
It just makes me think they're going to do the match again.
Potentially, let's see where it goes. You know, there's optimism here. I can't see it being anything other than a Ford heel turn. Kid Rock was in the crowd, and he snogged a woman. Apparently, that was a TikTok comedian.
Yeah. Speaking of bad opinions, Kid Rock was in the crowd.
But it was quite well done because this wasn't just gratuitous celebrity shot. It was actually kind of to catch you off guard because Riddle ran through the crowd. Everyone's like, no, stop him. He's not medically cleared, so he's not allowed to cut a promo.
Well, what if he gets attacked? Which is what happened.
He calls out Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins runs out with loads of officials sort of chasing him. Seth gets in the ring. Of course, Riddle's injured. Stomps him. I thought this was actually really well done. It felt genuinely chaotic. It was concise. You know, it wasn't another one of those 15-minute promo bits. But more than anything, I felt like the WWE officials felt like the baby faces. And I can't remember the last time that's happened.
It's because Petey Williams is one of them now.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear my big theory I have about this? My big Austin theory about this segment. Triple H knew they were going to do this match again at Clash at the Castle. And because he doesn't want to be accused of doing nothing but rematches, took the match off of this card and replaced it with this angle to set up a match at Clash at the Castle. Thumbs up from me, dude.
Yeah.
Thumbs up from me.
Yeah. It is a shame Seth and Riddle didn't get a match at SummerSlam, but long term, yeah, I think
they get it at the
great.
next stadium show, which is in a month's time. So it's not like we're never going to get the match again.
In front of probably, 22,000 more people, or Kane, actually 30,000 people. Kane later announced the official attendance of 48,449. It's probably 40.
Yeah, speaking of bad opinions, Kane was here.
Well,
again,
was there.
He's from the area.
Well, at least he only did the number and the pyro.
But even the pyro thing, he literally looks at the crowd and be like, do I have to? Like, if you go back and watch it, he does it. It's almost like he didn't want to be there. He's like, yeah, 48,000 people, thanks for coming. And he puts the microphone down, looks to the right and goes, and then does this pyro thing and be like, oh, guys, I thought I'd really put this behind me now.
I'm a serious, stupid politician. Okay, so the last match we'll talk about, because we already covered the main event, and Kane's pyro, was Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. Quite an interesting match. Liv Morgan was pretty much dominated by Ronda for 5 minutes. Looked like her shoulder was dislocated, kayfabe-wise. She was selling it. Ronda locked in the armbar, but Ronda's shoulders were on the mat. And the referee counted 3 as Liv tapped out. This was something I missed. It's not in my review, and a lot of people have pointed it out since. Thank you. But yes, and then off the back of that, Ronda was so frustrated, she continued to beat up Liv, and she beat up a referee as well. Presumably a heel turn.
This was my second favourite thing on the show.
Wow.
And the reason it was my second favourite thing on the show...
More than the Digger.
Well, no, but, yeah, okay, as a spot.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, this is my second favourite match on the night. And then, spot-wise, it's my third favourite thing on the show. And I think it's because, much like the Bianca Belair Becky Lynch fallout that made me really excited to watch Raw, this made me really excited to watch SmackDown.
Yeah.
And it made me want to see what the follow-up is going to be. So I get a massive thumbs up for me. I thought that Liv's performance in this match was really, really great as this, like, almost out of her depth champion in there with Ronda Rousey, who was just kicking 7 belts of cack out of her. And I just thought her ragdoll selling was so good. The finish I thought was really, really great because they did an amazing job production-wise of Liv Morgan getting the pin. So she kind of stood up while she was in the armbar. Ronda's shoulders are down, and she count the pin. And the crowd pop because they see the pin fall. And Ronda starts freaking out. And the commentators are like, Ronda's saying that Liv tapped out, and she got the pinfall. Like, I think Ronda's out of line here. And they show a replay, and you just see that Ronda gets pinned. And they're like, yeah, you see, look, she got pinned. Then they go to another angle. And in that other angle, Liv Morgan taps out at the count of 2. And the commentator's like, oh, Ronda's right. That is bad officiating.
Get Jared in there.
That's the next match. Now, I know a thing or two about officiating.
Referee sleeve off. Referee sleeve off.
I just thought it was so brilliantly put together. I really, really like this. And the heel turn afterwards was okay. It was okay. But I think Ronda is Ronda. Showing emotion is hard for robots. But I thought the actual in-ring action and the way that the commentary was put together and the production, I thought it was really, really great.
So obviously I missed the Liv Morgan thing. I do like it more with the tap, but my problem with this match was more that Liv won with a briefcase cash-in. It's not the strongest way. You kind of want to build her up. This was not a strong performance for her as a kayfabe wrestler. In fact, she looked utterly out of her depth. It's not what I want. I've had that with Nikki ASH, so I wasn't a big fan of that. And then when Ronda did turn heel, it just wasn't enough for me.
Yeah.
I wanted her to really start getting a weapon out. Maybe some other people ran down that she fought off. This could be excused as just temporary frustration. But yes, if it is a Ronda heel turn, it does make me very intrigued about SmackDown's women's division. But I do think it also made Liv look weak. So this was actually one of my... I said this was the only misstep for me on the whole show. I
do agree with you on the Liv Morgan thing, actually, because the character they've been doing with Liv on Raw and then when she went over to SmackDown was that people keep underestimating her and she keeps winning. There's an incredible moment when she pinned Alexa Bliss on TV in the lead up to Money in the Bank. And the commentary team sold it like, whoa, my God, you just pinned Alexa Bliss. And Alexa Bliss is like, whoa, I just got pinned by Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's reaction was, yeah, of course I pinned you. I'm much better than you guys are giving me credit for. And I thought that was a really interesting character. And then all of a sudden, just got her ass handed to her by Ronda. Like, you're fine until you get in the ring with Ronda. And that robot is going to beat you up bad.
Ronda will squash.
Ronda don't work more than 5.
But yes, that was the show. Like I said, I loved it. As we've talked about it there are things in there that, didn't hit great. But I think it was all above average. Every single part of it was above average. Several spots were excellent, and 2 of them were all time, and 1 of them was use it in every video package ever. Forever, together, whatever. So, and it's all about how I now feel. Like, am I excited for the next thing? Yes. More excited than I've been for a while. Well, forever in WWE. So yeah, for me, this is the best pay-per-view of the year. I cannot believe I'm saying this.
I think it's the best WWE pay-per-view of the year.
Without a doubt.
By leaps and bounds, I would say as well. I really enjoyed both nights of WrestleMania, but both of them for different reasons as well, because they were both wildly different things. But for me, this is my favorite WWE pay-per-view by quite some margin. It's not my favorite pay-per-view of the whole year, though, because I will, when I kind of think back to what pay-per-views am I going to rewatch, it's Revolution. It's Forbidden Door. I'll probably rewatch the Bianca Belair Becky Lynch match, and I'll rewatch the Digger spots. But the rest of the show, I'm never going to go back and watch again. So I don't think it's like my favoriteest thing I've seen this year. I think it started off really high. It's like my GM, actually. You just got to make sure your opener and your main event are good, and the rest of it can be quite low. As long as that works, then you get the right thing, right? So I think it was a great opener, a great ending, a very big lull in the middle where I was less interested, and it didn't make me want to see more. But those 2 bits there did. And that's a big thumbs up.
I'll just explain because of course I rated this over Forbidden Door, which I gave, I think, 91%, and Revolution, which I think I gave like 93, 94 maybe. I gave SummerSlam 95. Forbidden Door, I've said all my problems with that. Don't need to go over it again. Which, honestly, with Revolution, it's too long.
It was too long.
It's too long a show for me. This had no wrestling on the pre-show, so you haven't got like that hour of stuff before, and it was 3 hours 40 minutes. Which is longer than like my favorite 3 hours, but this is SummerSlam. It's one of the bigger shows. It's not 4.5 hours. This breezed by for me. And it could have been even shorter if they don't have those, fake 4-minute commercial breaks after every match.
Yeah, agreed.
This is actually a 3 hour 10 match, 3 hour 10 minute card. So for that, I loved the experience. Let's get into your remaining Ultrachats. Elliot Doyle. Of course, Ollie would immediately jump WWE ahead of AEW as soon as he could. Such a WWE shill. All jokes aside, a great start for Triple H in charge, and excited for what comes next. Still some catching up to do to reach the highs of AEW pay-per-views, in my opinion. Riot DR. Once upon a time, Dakota Kai and Aaliyah had a dark match, and Aaliyah was called up, and Kai was eventually released. Then they did nothing with Aaliyah. My theory, Dakota is so good that she convinced Vince that Aaliyah was main event ready. So glad she's back.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Dakota Kai back. Really am glad.
Jay Cuss, just all kinds of stuff, says, love watching your content. It's the reason I keep up with wrestling. Honestly, the Roman Brock match was amazing, but it was ruined for me by the amount of times I've seen it. Copy-paste this match to WrestleMania 38, and it would have been perfect.
That's a great idea, actually. This should have been the WrestleMania match.
With the Digger?
Yeah, exactly, with the Digger.
Sean Wyko, or Shawniko. Really enjoyed Brock Roman, but I found the endings to Roman's title matches just really disappointing. So many false finishes that I don't buy them anymore. Then one of them sticks seemingly out of nowhere, and it just ends. Lack of impact for me. Tyler Robinson, Memberg for 11 months. After SummerSlam, I feel we are entering a new era of WWE. What would you call this era?
Just the Triple H era.
Triple H era.
That's what I'm calling it at the moment, yeah.
I called it the Bearded Dawn.
I saw it was very poetic of you.
HCB. Hi guys, so I watched the show on catch up and was getting bored during Brock Roman, so I skipped about 5 minutes, then saw the ring was lifted and was holy hell, rewind a bit. Loved the Raw Women's moment, stare down as it felt genuinely cool and not forced.
Yeah.
I agree, but it was a bit forced because Bayley, Kai and Sky were all together. Kai and Sky.
And Bayley.
Is that why they're cool? Is that why they renamed it?
Kai Sky.
SJF Hoosier. Triple H did what Vince often didn't, deliver the advertised card. He probably didn't like a lot of it, but he engineered best outcomes he can build on, creating optimistic paths forward. So SummerSlam won't be remembered as the best in-ring premium live event, but as a turning point.
That's it. I think it is the optimism around Triple H taking over, I think, is what has carried this pay-per-view more than anything that's actually in-ring that actually happened on the show.
Because this is not Triple H's card.
No.
This is something that was booked way ahead, so really excited to see where he can take it. A TNA turning point. Timmy Too Dope. Roman would never have caught the mic like that if Vince was still running the show. Everything was just working. Tem Rizza, what were your thoughts on the setup and the stadium? For me, Raw and SmackDown are where my real interest is, because it is where we get a real idea of this new regime. The run-up to Clash will be telling how good it will be. Time to play the game.
I think stadium setups always look amazing for WWE because I love that massive entrance ramp they have with like the little kink in it, and I think they've always got that cool not stage, but the boards and everything. They've got the Titantrons and whatnot. I really like the way they've set up stadium shows to the point where, because we're not going to Clash at the Castle, which is in a stadium, it's in the Principality Stadium. I was like, I'm actually gutted I'm not there to see it, because I've only ever seen the standard Raw, SmackDown, homogenous, just copied and pasted across, just with red. One of them's red and one of them's blue.
Do you think we get a new set?
I don't think it's anytime soon, but I think Triple H will want to differentiate how the two sets look.
Black and gold. But yes, I think, it's all, we've got to see how this plays out on weekly TV. But right now, we're just hopeful. Jaden Jones. Hey guys, me and my boyfriend have just got our tickets for the watch party as an early birthday gift for myself on Tuesday. We forgot to promote this. Looking forward to meeting you all, as well as getting my boyfriend's opinions on the show, since he's only seen 2020 to 2021 AEW. Can't wait.
Yeah, so if you can't get to WWE Clash at the Castle, like many people can't because, tickets were really expensive and really hard to get hold of, we're having a watch party for the show at the Joiner on Worship in Shoreditch, London, very close to Liverpool Street Station, so excellent connections to the Tube and National Rail services. Tickets are available now, just £12.50, link in the video description down below. You can also pre-order your food and drinks if you would also like. But yeah, we're having a watch-along party. We're all going to be there. It's a wicked setup in the venue that we've got. On the wall where we're going to be watching the show, they've got 4 massive TVs that are joined together to make one Uber TV.
The Megatron.
Oh, it's going to look amazing. We're going to watch the show, and it's going to be a really, really fun time. We're really looking forward to meeting you all there. We're going to have an after party afterwards, so we're really looking forward to...
Bit of beer pong, probably.
Yeah, if we can do, absolutely. I was also thinking, maybe we could set up a karaoke machine.
Oh,
with the words on that massive screen.
Yes.
We could do Masioki.
We could do Pokemon.
We could all do the National Express.
Tickets are going fast, though.
Yeah, we've sold nearly a quarter of them already.
Yeah, so do click the link. Is the link in the video description?
It sure is.
Click the link in the video description to get your tickets now. And finally, Tamruza. So would it be fair to say that Ollie has struggled with the rise of sports-based pro wrestling with more MMA and sports influence? I hope this starts to wake Tony Khan the F up about the women, and hope Tony Khan starts to realise he has to start expanding the budget.
I don't think the budget's the problem. I think it's the timing on the show is the issue. I also just do not think it's going to make him wake up. Tony Khan has made his decision about what women's wrestling is in AEW. Literally nothing on this earth is going to change that. Even if they get Sasha Banks, it is not going to change your one match and your one backstage interview for every episode of Dynamite.
Hour 20 into the show, it's time for 3 consecutive women's segments.
It's never going to change. We're 3 years into this product now. It's never going to change.
I don't get what. So Ollie has struggled with the rise of sports-based pro wrestling with more MMA and sports influence. Not at all. I understand it now. I love both. I love both equally. I was brought up as a kid was sports entertainment, but then sort of my adult love was going into the more sports-based indie wrestling shows.
We've got the last one here from Nathan Portwoman, who was actually at the event.
Oh.
First ever live wrestling pay-per-view. Bobby was somehow the most over person of the night. The light was too damn bright. Brock's a really good entertainer. And a dude looked at me and said, Logan's really trying. And we all started cheering him after he said that.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us here today and for all your Ultra Chats and for subscribing and checking out the live reactions too. We will be back on Tuesday. I'll be back.
You will, with Andy Datson.
With Andy Datson to review Raw. It's a new era. So subscribe and enable notifications to know when that's about to go live. But for now, I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen, DAD, and Jam That Jam.
Jam that jam, everyone.